Okay, so yesterday we learned all about the trig ratio, setting them up, sine, cosine, and tangent. Today we're going to actually use them to find missing sides. So for this first one, they're all going to be set up the same way. You always have to figure out what two pieces that you have. So our options are the opposite leg, the hypotenuse, or the adjacent leg, and that's based on the angle that you were given, just like yesterday. So for this first one, we have 41 degrees. This is the angle that I'm looking at. So from 41 degrees perspective, I know that, well, across from the right angle is my hypotenuse. So 11 is my h, or my hypotenuse. I would label that. I also know that the opposite side is what's across from my angle. Well, I don't have that, and I don't care what it is. I'm not looking for it. So I don't care about opposite. I know the adjacent leg is always what's touching the angle that I have. So because this x is touching 41 and it is not the hypotenuse, that makes him the adjacent leg. So when I go up and match, I have A and H. I'm looking here, okay, here's an A, here's an H. That means I'm going to be using cosine. So that's how we apply this. It's always cosine of the angle that you have, which is 41, is equal to, and this tells me the ratio, A comes before H. So the adjacent leg is x, which comes before or on top of the hypotenuse, which is 11. Step 1 is to turn this into a fraction. It's always a fraction over 1, because now you guys have a proportion. You have two fractions equal to each other. So we're going to cross multiply. Whoops. So we're going to take my first diagonal right here, and we're going to say cosine of 41. Now you're going to have to put that in parentheses because your calculator is going to start it, times 11 is equal to x times 1, or 1x. What I would recommend too, instead of writing it as cosine of 41 times 11, I usually do 11 times cosine of 41. Then you don't have to be as careful with parentheses. Same answer as long as you know your parentheses. So now we're going to type these in. Your calculator will look, I'll show you the next one with the red calculators. I'm going to cover this up real quick. But you're just going to find COS, that stands for cosine. We don't want the -1, we're doing that tomorrow. So cosine of 41, it started my parentheses, so I've got to close it, times 11, and that gives me 8.3. We're equal to x. There's nothing I have to do. That tells me that my side length is 8.3. And just double check, the hypotenuse is 11, that should be the longest side. 8.3 is less than 11, we are good.